Hey, I'm Jamie East, and today's episode of The Smart 7 is sponsored by Vodafone Business in partnership with Samsung. If you're running a business, any kind of business, you're probably spending some time thinking about AI, what to do, how much to use it, and how to even get started. The answer could be in your pocket. The new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, powered by Vodafone Business's reliable, award-winning network, will help you unleash your productivity through brilliant built-in Galaxy AI. For example, Note Assist will automatically correct, fix the spelling, formatting and organise your meeting notes so you can stay tuned into the session without any worry. Even if you're adept at AI, you might want to avoid using it in some situations, as an Irish MEP's gone viral this week for using AI to write a letter to EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. It was sent with good intentions, but it included a made-up story and lyrics from Swedish House Mafia. Getting back to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, to take advantage of all the features and change the way you do business, you'll need a Samsung account and a network connection. To find out more, search Vodafone Business Samsung, and for network verification, go to vodafone.co.uk/network. On today's Smart 7, Britain's water system is failing, Ukraine's Secret Service strikes again, and much more. It's Wednesday, 4th of June, it's National Cheese Day, and happy birthday, Angelina Jolie.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
There was bad news for Thames Water customers on Tuesday as the potential rescue of the troubled utility collapsed. Private equity giant KKR had been lined up for a £4 billion investment, but decided that the political and regulatory environment around Thames Water made the deal too difficult. Thames Water says it's working on an alternative plan to avoid a government-supervised administration. Tuesday also saw an interim report from the Water Commission, which says the sector is failing and needs a total reset. Environment Secretary Steve Reed says the government is ready to act.
Whether it's Thames Water or other companies serving other parts of the country, the era of profiting from pollution is over. This government will clean up our waterways for good.
Long-time water campaigner Fergal Sharkey was bitterly disappointed by the interim report, however.
There's nothing in this report that actually addresses any of the fundamental underlying issues. It still plays to pollute. What we needed was a fresh approach with fresh set of eyes, a clean sheet of paper. This is nothing but hanging up some new curtains and painting the front door and hoping that no one notices.
Labour launched its defence spending review on Monday, but Labour ministers found themselves spending most of Tuesday defending the proposals. Prime Minister Keir Starmer had refused to give exact dates when the defence budget would rise to 3% of GDP, just promising that it would happen in the lifetime of the next Parliament, which gave a window up to 2034. However, it appears that NATO may now push members to commit to 3.5% of GDP for defence at this month's summit in The Hague, in an attempt to keep Donald Trump on board. Defence Secretary John Healey wasn't getting into the details on Sky News, preferring instead to talk up the UK's new laser weapon Dragonfire.
We will be the first NATO nation in Europe to have a fully operational laser weapon in 2 years' time because of the new investment we're putting in. It's the way that we contribute to NATO in what we provide.
Former Tory Defence Secretary Ben Wallace didn't sound convinced that even 3% was possible.
Keir Starmer goes up and announces 4 new extra submarines that will commence in 2045. Putin will definitely be dead by then, despite efforts. But fundamentally, unless there is a 3% and a proper path to get there, much of this defence review will just simply not be able to be implemented.
In the wake of Ukraine's attacks on Russian airfields, Russia appears to have stepped up its attacks on civilian targets in Ukraine. At least 4 people were killed and more wounded when a Russian rocket hit the city of Sumy. The attack came as Ukraine carried out another covert mission, this time placing about a metric ton of explosives underwater on the Kerch Bridge, which links Russia and occupied Crimea. It's long been a target for the Ukrainian military, and this third attack on it seems to have inflicted serious damage, with the bridge closed to traffic. Sky News defence analyst Michael Clark says the sequence of attacks is intended to send a message to the Americans in particular.
And the message for them is, look at what we've done in the last few days. We're not victims. We can fight. We can show the Russians what we can do. This may be David and Goliath, but David's got quite a lot to go on up against the Goliath.
Tuesday marked the third day in a row that Israeli forces opened fire on Palestinian civilians at a food distribution point in Gaza. This time at least 27 were killed when the IDF opened fire with tanks and drones as crowds gathered near Rafah with the hope of getting essential supplies which were due to be distributed by the Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Almost 200 people were injured, and UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk says the continued deadly attacks on civilians in search of food should be classified as a war crime. Israel has announced the aid centres will be closed on Wednesday and warned civilians that the area around them should be considered a combat zone. Israeli military spokesman David Mentor says the system is working well and went on to point fingers at both the UN and Hamas.
Many of the monsters of October 7th were UN employees. At best, they look the other way. At worst, they were graduates of a UN education. We're saying no more. If you want peace in Gaza, then remove the UN from the equation.
Still to come on today's Smart 7 in association with Metro, bad news for the Lionesses and good news for rom-com fans. Right after this. Hey, it's Jamie East here, and today's episode of the Smart 7 is sponsored by Vodafone Business in partnership with Samsung. When you're running your own business, pretty much anywhere can be your office. The spare room, the back garden, or, even the local cafe. And with the power of Vodafone Business's reliable award-winning network, combined with the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, there's no limit to what you can do pretty much anywhere. For example, if you're working and caffeinating at the same time, the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra will allow you to seamlessly complete actions across a whole range of apps to find relevant information and send it where it needs to go. It can even summarise YouTube videos for you and save it to Samsung Text Notes. That's the power of AI in your pocket. Even if you're adept at AI, you might want to avoid using it in some situations, as an Irish MEP's gone viral this week for using AI to write a letter to EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. It was sent with good intentions, but it included a made-up story and lyrics from Swedish House Mafia. And getting back to Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, to take advantage of all the features and change the way you do business, you'll need a Samsung account and a network connection. And if you're using the seamless action across apps, it's compatible with selected languages only. You'll also need a Google account login, and the availability of search functions may vary by country, language and device. To find out more, search Vodafone Business Samsung, and for network verification, go to vodafone.co.uk/network. Welcome back. There was bad news for the Lionesses on Tuesday night as Serena Wegman's England team lost 2-1 to Spain in Barcelona, which left England second in their Nations League group. Spain won the group and will now head to a semi-final in October. The timing isn't great for Wegman, as she's due to pick her team for this summer's Euros later this week. Meanwhile, at the French Open, we're set for a renewal of one of the great rivalries in women's tennis, as both Iga Swiatek and Aryna Sabalenka won their quarter-final matches to set up a semi-final head-to-head. It'll be the 12th time they've played each other, but Swiatek was sounding focused.
She has a game for every surface, so I need to just focus on myself, do the work, be, brave with my shots and just go for it,
If I told you there's a new adaptation of a Stephen King story directed by legendary horror director Mike Flanagan, the man behind The Haunting of Hill House, you'd probably assume it's another psycho killer story, but you'd be wrong. Instead, The Life of Chuck is a gentle story about the meaning of existence. It stars Tom Hiddleston, and it's already picked up the top prize at the Toronto Film Festival. In a summer of blockbusters, maybe a tearjerker is just what we need. Tom was on the red carpet on Tuesday, waxing lyrical about the meaning in the movie.
Any contemplation of mortality necessarily inspires an appreciation of life and life's preciousness, its brevity, its beauty, its joy. It's a film about the courage and the connection we need when the world feels as though it's falling apart.
It's definitely starting to look like rom-coms are making a comeback. The Hollywood matchmaking machine has come up with an interesting couple for this one, though. It's called A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, and it stars Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell. It's a relatively high-concept movie, with the two protagonists stepping through a mystery door into their pasts to better understand their present selves. It's nice to hear Colin doing his own accent, too. It hits cinemas in September.
Are you going to tell me what's going on?
I don't know, but I think I've been here before.
This is unbelievable.
I think that's the entrance to my high school.
You're late. Come on. How old am I?
15.
I'm 15.
Cool. How old am I?
I don't know, 40?
I'm going to kill you.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Did you know that foreign investors are quietly funding lawsuits in American courts through a practice called third-party litigation funding? Shadowy overseas funders are paying to sue American companies in our courts, and they don't pay a dime in U.S. taxes if there is an award or settlement. They profit tax-free from our legal system, while U.S. companies are tied up in court, and American families pay the price, to the tune of $5,000 a year. But there is a solution. A new proposal before Congress would close this loophole and ensure these foreign investors pay taxes, just like the actual plaintiffs have to. It's a common sense move that discourages frivolous and abusive lawsuits and redirects resources back into American jobs, innovation, and growth. Only President Trump and congressional Republicans can deliver this win for America and hold these foreign investors accountable. Contact your lawmakers today and demand they take a stand to end foreign-funded litigation abuse.